for tuning in. Today is Best Served Podcast 333, and we're talking the soul of fine dining with Sol Han of LittleMad out in New York City. Tell your best story, episode 5. You know, we're always focused on story, right? Stop selling food, start telling stories. We're really going to focus on the story, the thing behind the thing. That's the real thing. That's what I'm always trying to understand. It's the human experience. And we're going to talk about fine dining, something that obviously was a big part of my career over the last 25 years. Fine dining really helped put food and chefs on a pedestal, allowed us the sensory experiences of learning something new about food, of being challenged, the creativity, the whimsy. It also, at moments, we tried too hard. Just because we could doesn't mean we should with some things and some elements. Sometimes it became a little bit hollow and contrived. And now there's a little bit of a reckoning, and fine dining is reimagining itself, especially through a pandemic where you even see some of the top-rated restaurants in the world having to reimagine the way that they communicate and interact in the food, and even seeing places like Alinea think about what a pot roast looks like for them, or fine dining thinking about what a burger means to them. And so we're reimagining a lot, and Sol Han is at the forefront of rethinking the way that we're approaching food, beverage, and hospitality, especially in fine dining. So I want to bring Sol in to speak with us about LittleMad. Sol, good to see you.
What's up, guys? How's everything?
Everything is good on our end. I think the hospitality industry, you know, is an emotional roller coaster right now. And so I just want to talk with you for a little bit about kind of how you're seeing the future of this industry. I think we have understood the successes and failures of our past, and now we're at a moment to kind of like reimagine what comes next. And so, you know, I want to talk a little bit about just how this came about. Obviously, the pandemic kind of accelerated what's happening with LittleMad, because you kind of were on a different potential trajectory, kind of in the straight fine dining space, thinking that you were kind of going into a new position, right, with Luke Cuckoo, if I'm correct.
For sure.
And then now saying, okay, I'm gonna shift and go with hand hospitality into a new endeavor, and you're kind of the face of that. So give us a little bit of the background, kind of what got us to this point, and then we'll talk about LittleMad some more.
So for me, I was just previously at Le Cuckoo. I was the executive sous chef over there. I was there probably about a year and a half, going into 2 years. I loved it. But I've been in the industry for a very long time, and I already felt good. You know, when you're ready to move on, and I already felt like I needed to move on from cooking French, Italian, something that in the long run, I just didn't feel comfortable. So I felt right. The time was right. And I was already on my way to leaving Le Cuckoo. And I found somebody who was going to invest. We were moving forward. And then, you know, shit started happening.
It hit the fan real quick. Yeah,
really, really, really quick. I mean, I was about to sign a deal, and we were supposed to get a spot in the West Village. Then the pandemic happened. Everything was put on a hold, and I had to sit tight. But while that was going on, I met up with the CEO of Hand Hospitality. I got connected from the interior designer that was going to do my spot in West Village, and they were doing Attaboy, Attamix, all the spots in Hand Hospitality. And I got hooked up, connected with Kiro, and we clicked right away. I mean, he's Korean, I'm Korean American, but how we connected very well is we both like to drink. So I met up with him. He said, I told him straight up, regardless, whether you want to invest and be my partner or not, I'm going to open up a restaurant. I feel good about it. Whether there's a pandemic happening, whether there's people dying, there's a fucking fire outside, I don't care. I'm going to roll the dice. And I just felt the timing was right. And I mean, we connected right away. So I did a tasting at the Hand Hospitality test kitchen, made like 13 dishes, couple sides, and they were very much so interested. They liked it. I brought my executive sous chef now. His name is Jonathan Colbert. He did the tasting with me. He helped out a lot. We crushed it. And then because the pandemic was still happening, they were like, we can't move forward very fast. So I sat tight. And then this restaurant that LittleMad is at right now, we took over a previous hand hospitality restaurant called On. It's a induction hot pot place. And I came to look at the spot. The spot has beautiful structure. It's ready to go. All we have to do is come into space and touch it up. We broke down the wall, made it an open kitchen. We stained the ceiling. We took out the induction. Instead of getting rid of all these beautiful tables, we kept the table, sanded it down, made it new. Then we put copper pans in the center of the table to make it, to give it like a French vibe, because at the end of the day, it is all about the mother cuisine is the French cuisine. So all the technique that we have behind everything is French. So we put the copper little plates in the center of the table, made it look nice, and it's just beautiful. And we hit the ground running, and we've been very, very fortunate. We have an amazing team. I mean, I'm the general manager here. Her name is Jean. She comes from fine dining and hotel background.
And so I want to jump in because I want to talk about the team a little more, but I want to take a moment right now to just connect with the audience a little bit, because I can feel your energy right now. Hearing everything that you're talking about, I both have goosebumps and massive amounts of anxiety, having opened so many restaurants throughout my career and my own restaurants as well. Like, we're so impatient. So the fact that you said, you had to sit tight, like, I know how hard that is. And anybody who's gone through that, it's those little things of like, the touches that you're putting into your restaurant. They are such an extension of you and an extension of your team, which is why I want to take a moment before we talk about the team a little bit more. And it matters. Like, those little nuances of the story really matter. And I think the ability that you have to connect those pieces of story to your team, to your guests, to your broader audience is something that's so important. And we miss sometimes. I make fun of the light fixtures where it's like we spent $2,000 on light fixtures from the fucking Titanic, yet we don't have enough money to pay our people. We don't have enough money to invest in the things that truly matter. Yet you want to make sure that there are those touches that are so personal and unique to you. So I wanted to make sure that everyone who's been through it, what Sol and I are talking about. Anybody who hasn't or is thinking about it, this is the butterflies that you're going to get, the excitement where it's this, you're kind of all over the place and laser focused at the same time. And I know that you feel that. So anything to add to that? Because I think it's important for everyone to understand.
For the team aspect, for me, the number one thing is the team. You won't have shit. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing even fucking matters. If I don't have my executive sous chef, if I don't have my sous chef, if I don't have my GM, at the end of the day, I could have fucking coronavirus tomorrow and be off. And these guys are going to run the restaurant without me here or not. So it's very important that you invest in your team. Who gives a shit about paying them a lot of money? At the end of the day, what you get is what you're going to get. What you pay for is what you're going to get in return. For me,
you want them to feel like they're in it with you, right? And let's talk about that for a moment, because and we've been in those kitchens where getting a plate thrown at your head was supposedly a badge of honor. Really, it's just toxic and stupid, and we're calling bullshit on it now. And there's something different happening, and there's a groundswell right now. And look, they're not just lucky to be there. They are the foundation of any opportunity that you have for success. And we have treated people just like bodies and hands in this industry for too long. And now we're looking at the soul, the whole person. Talk about how you're navigating that with trying to open a new restaurant and the struggles of small margin. Break it down, unpack it for us a little bit.
For me, I am an old school chef. I graduated CIA 2006. I was in a kitchen when I was 14 years old at my parents' restaurant. Yeah, I know what it is. I've seen shit go down. I've seen plates being thrown. I got food thrown at me multiple times. That shit, honestly, that helped me, and it didn't at the same time. It helped me become the chef that I am today, that I don't give a fuck what happens. Whether there's a fire, there's a fucking oil spill, whatever's going down, in the middle of a busy service, we are going to make sure that we give you the best food, best product, and all this shit. Besides that, I mean, not that I've seen it all. I would never. It's totally different now. You can't treat your team like that because they're gonna walk out on you. Not even just walking out on you. It's just all about respect. We're here to have fun at the end of the fucking day. If my team is not happy walking in these fucking doors and they're working 70 hours a week, then what's the point? You know, it's miserable. Yeah. We're in this hospitality industry. We are chefs. We do this because we fucking like it. And that's the most important thing. Like I want my crew to come in happy. I want them to express themselves through food and hospitality. If they want to fucking make something, I'm the guy that says, you know what? You want to fucking make it? Buy it, make it. Let's taste it together. Let's make it and put it on the fucking menu. And that's all real. That like you could ask anyone. So very, very important. Rule number 1. You have to be fucking happy. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. You have to be happy. And I can't. Like, that's the most important thing to me.
I hear you, and I appreciate that. And even just the way that I've seen some of the messaging around LittleMad, just kind of paying attention a little bit. You know, I saw the picture of the 4 of you, right? There was Gene, you mentioned Jonathan, and then somebody else. Remind me who.
Who's the operation manager.
Yes. And so just the fact that, you know, the 4 of you looking like you're starting a rock band with the with the brick behind you and all that, like, but it was clear, right? You are, you know, the face of it. Obviously, like in the byline, it's going to say Sol Han, yet you're very quick to make sure that they get the credit. Why is that such an important part of the story? Not just that's what's happening internally and what you and I are talking about, but you're spending time and effort and media attention to make sure that your team gets that attention. And usually we're trying to just put that one person on a pedestal. Why is that important? Why are you doing that from that media perspective?
That pedestal is bullshit.
Hey, there you go.
Again, without the team, I'm fucked. Straight up. With that being said, they're so talented. These people are so talented. So it's never one person. It might just be the fucking food that I'm making. But without service and knowledge of everything, front of the house, back of the house, combination, you need to build a whole entire fucking, it's like an ecosystem pretty much.
That's it.
Without Gene here, I'm fucked. How are we going to, I don't know how to really do.
Gene, you hear that? You hear that? He needs you over there desperately.
Without, you know, everyone has their own little niche and everyone has their own little, you know, pros and cons and what they're good at, what they're not good at. And I want to make them shine. You know, they're so good at what they do. How could you put them in the background? They need to be up front with me, up forward with me. They're on the pedestal with me and not just the fucking managers. I don't want that. I have my cooks for my tables. Like we finished sauces table side. We finished the bone marrow table side.
Yep.
I want these cooks to go out to the table. Hi, thanks for coming to LittleMad. This is our rice dish, roasted seasonal mushrooms. We're going to finish with the bone marrow. The fucking cooks enjoy that. The guests enjoy that. Let's have fun. Let's make a whole complete cycle. You know, like why do I put everyone in the back and pretend like I'm the shit? Like, no,
it's the number one thing that the chef-driven restaurant created the opportunity for. Before that we were just stuck in the back and guests were just nameless, faceless assholes that had weird requests and sent back food. The open kitchen created a relationship. It created an accountability to each other. And so I think that's the number one thing that I really appreciate. And you're going even further. You're now taking them into the dining room, you know, with you, so to speak. So let's talk about that dynamic. And that's a good segue into talking about some of the ways that you're expressing the food, because you are doing some unique things table side to create that relationship, right? And the cook now has a relationship with that guest that means something. It matters. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I mean, I read in a magazine before, when the chef comes to the table, the food is 30% better.
True. I mean, you know,
it's more knowledge. It's more knowledge basis. I feel like if a cook or a chef comes to the table, they explain where it's from, why is it special. There's a storytelling behind it. Like I have guests that just order one dish and then I explain why the dish is made this way, it tells a story and they understand why and they appreciate the ingredient that much more. They appreciate the dish that much more. So it's just so crazy how we have the food Bible and we have, for a restaurant, we have the food Bible and the menu and everything. Like the first thing I make a dish and Gene's like, tell me the story. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I'm not like, I have a story for all the food, but I also don't, because sometimes I just want to bring in these specialty items from that region and that area. And I just want to serve it the way it is with a little bit of touch. Because the more you fuck with it, the less it's really the actual product. So sometimes to me, it's like there's a story and there's not. Some like, fine, there is a story. Something like if there's no story,
like you don't have to mess with the story. The story is already there.
That's why we pay this kind of fucking prices for it.
Right. There better be a story there that's costing us an arm and a leg.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, with going back to the whole table side thing, I wanted to, like, you know, if you go to a French restaurant, they finish usually all the dishes with a little bit of flambé or a little bit of jus. I like that. I think it's fun. I think it's sexy. So that's why a lot of the dishes, no matter what, on the menu, we have 2 to 3 items that's always going to be table side finished. I think it's important.
Oh, and you might rotate through those. So right now you're scraping bone marrow onto like a rice bowl.
That's our signatures, and I don't think I could make.
That's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not. No one's doing a rice bowl that's just all the mushrooms are imported from Korea. We roast that beautifully, then we put it on buttered rice, seasoned with a little bit of soy sauce and maple syrup. And then we scrape that fucking bone marrow that's just nastiness and delicious. I always say this is meat butter and this is ugly delicious, because sometimes the bone marrow, if you don't know what you're eating, it could be a little bit, you know, nasty looking or
and you're scraping and hollowing out a bone of an animal, like no doubt. It's that. I really appreciated that dish now even more. Again, this is the story matters. Now that I know that a cook is potentially coming out and scraping that bone marrow, the depth and meaning that that dish has is so profound. And that dish looks very simple and humble, yet to the point that you're making every single touch is inspired. Every single touch is there with purpose, and it doesn't need over primping and pruning, because it checks all the fucking boxes in one simple dish, including the relationship that it builds, which is so important, right? The food is just the proof that you are who you say you are. And that dish screams to who you are and who your team is. And so I really appreciate that.
And the Little Mad concept. We want to make fucking food that's mad.
Yeah, go a little mad, right? Isn't that the catchphrase?
Yeah,
what does that mean to you?
Couple menu items, but a lot of the menu items, let me talk about a little bit about Little Mad. What means mad to us? Little Mad came about when I was trying to make a name for the restaurant. It's on 110 Madison Avenue, so it's a little restaurant on Madison, but it evolved into something more creative, a little bit more fun. We wanted to make it fucking mad. We wanted to just do something a little bit outside the box, that you're not just gonna go down the street and have fucking spaghetti with meatballs. I don't know, that's too simple, but
sure.
but like our beef tartare dish, classic take, Asian pear shiitake with soy sauce, sesame oil, but we want to do a little technique, so we made a little smoked tofu puree, a little egg gel that's cooked. We just put the egg yolk in a bag, sous vide at 67 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. A little technique, and then we have the rice chip. We give you a little mallet to go a little mad at Little Mad. You break the mallet, you break the little the seaweed chip table side and use that as a vessel. That's like a little mad concept. So is the rice. What else? We give you a fried maitake and a little. So we give you a fried maitake with onion. It's a whole hollowed out onion. We hollow it out, caramelize the onion, and then we put it back in with a sour cream and onion dip. So everything has like an element of surprise, is what I'm trying to say. That's what we wanted to create. We want to make it fun. And we want to have fun. It's more fun for us to do food like this than just like cook steak and here's the steak, you know, like, no, that's not fun anymore. We have to fucking think outside the box. We have to be creative.
I like that you're thinking about the extension of the interaction that the guest is having with it, and you're also coupling that with the interaction that your team is having with that experience. Because when they crack that chip, it can be, especially in moments like this, very cathartic. You can see the people that are like, "This is my first time out in 6 months," and they are hammering the shit out of that chip. And
for sure,
that, like, release, and that everybody is kind of emotionally there with them because they understand that part of the experience. And then, oh, by the way, the food is absolutely fire, which obviously is the cost of doing business. Yet all those little other personal touches are the actual LittleMad brand. That's kind of what you're trying to get across.
For me, it's so important that I see a smile in the guest's face.
Hey.
They love that shit. The first thing we give every single guest an amuse-bouche. It's our take on scallion pancake that's in a shape of a fish waffle served with seaweed butter. So we have the aspects of French with serving bread and butter, but fuck that. That's not fun anymore. So growing up, I had pungopang. Pungopang is like the Japanese taiyaki, little fish waffles.
Yep.
But instead of just giving you just a waffle, we wanted to incorporate what I grew up eating, which is scallion pancake. So we made it in that flavor, still served with butter. Every single fucking guest has a smile as soon, because we give it to every guest for free. So it starts with a smile that fucking makes my day. It makes the meal.
That's the tone from the beginning of the meal too. Like, exactly. You're going to have something a little bit unique, a little bit familiar as well, with kind of the aspects of like, waffle, scallion, butter, those things all really make sense. But then it's got the playfulness to it. It's got the creativity to it. And it's kind of like you're taking your craft and your ingredients really seriously, but not taking yourself that seriously. And
exactly.
It takes the pretense out. Because we've been in dining rooms where I'm there for 2.5 hours, and like I feel like I can't even like let my shoulders relax because there's so much pressure to have the perfect experience, even for the guests, let alone for the team themselves. So you're taking that pressure off instantly and making people feel comfortable.
For sure. We're not fine dining whatsoever. We're upscale casual. I want people to fucking come here and kick it, literally hang out, bring your friends, get fucked up, eat good food. The music, I make all the playlists. It's all hip hop. I grew up listening to hip hop. Yep. Why the fuck are you gonna play like classical jazz? Not here. Maybe at a fine dining restaurant, but here, just fucking come kick it. If you have to smoke a little weed, come back, and maybe that's a little too far. But
I'm in Denver right now, so
just have fun.
We understand.
Be you is what I'm trying to say. Have fun. Be you. And so much shit has happened. The world is not the same after this pandemic. Mm-hmm. Why are you gonna go wear a suit, go to a restaurant? Even though I love fine dining, at the same time, it's gotten to the point for me where I'm kind of trying to step away from that. That's why we created LittleMad, where you still get the mad service. You still get upscale food without the background of fine dining, is what we're doing here at LittleMad.
That's it. And you're reimagining, well, like I said, the soul of fine dining. You still have the soul of fine dining without all of the pretense, without all the rigor and all the exhaustion that comes out of that so often. You're just saying, let's get right to the things that we love about it and leave all of the rest of it aside. And I want to end with what you just said. Be you. Be you for the guests. Be you for your community. Be you for your team, for the cook, everybody. The more time we spend being our truest self and finding others that we can surround ourselves with that believe what we believe, have the same values, I think the LittleMad approach is something we all need to pay attention to just a little bit more, especially coming out, like you mentioned, this pandemic. It's time for something different. This feels different. So I appreciate that. Sol, any last words? This was really great talking with you.
Any last words? Thanks for I want to thank all the customers that have came to LittleMad, supported us from the beginning. It's been fucking solid. We've been crushing it, literally crushing it. I haven't seen a restaurant that's been open for a month doing 120 covers back-to-back days and just crushing it. And all of that is for the customers to come here and experience Little Mad food, Little Mad service. And I just want to thank everyone, for all the support till now. And moving forward, we're going to give you the best that we can. Thank you.
That gratitude is a superpower, my friend. I appreciate hearing that. I'm excited for you, for the team, and thank you so much for being on. Let's get you back out there to go play with your food, my friend.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Little Mad. I love that it's an approach. They're telling a story. It's not just a restaurant. It's not just food. Once again, stop selling food. Start telling stories. You're going to hear me say it again and again and again. We have to tell your best story. That's what truly, truly matters. We cannot just focus on the food, and that's hard for chefs to say. It's got to be about that story. It's got to be about that interaction and the relationship, and little things like scraping bone marrow into a rice bowl is creating the opportunity for that relationship. And you see the energy that Sol has and the energy that's coming out of Little Mad. That's what we need to focus on. That's what we need more of. That is it for this episode. Once again, Best Served Podcast 333, The Soul of Fine Dining with Sol Han of LittleMad, out at, 110 Madison Street. Go check them out for sure. Tell Your Best Story, episode number 5. Appreciate you all. Hope all of you are being your best self, because that's all that matters. That's all we have. Cheers.